High Counselor Zixtal stood frozen before the massive holographic display in the Galactic Communications Center. Where Earth's usual cacophony of signals should have been, there was nothing but empty static. The planet that never stopped broadcasting had gone completely silent. "Run the diagnostics again," she ordered, her crystalline appendages clicking nervously against the control panel. The technicians, representing 12 different species, scrambled to comply. They'd already run the tests 17 times, but no one dared question the High Counselor's commands. "Still nothing, Your Excellence," Chief Technical Officer Rindar reported, his bioluminescent patches pulsing with anxiety. "All frequencies are dead. No radio waves, no quantum packets, no tachyon bursts. Earth has gone dark." Zixtal's outer membrane rippled with concern. Humans never went quiet. In the century since they'd joined the Galactic Commonwealth, they'd been the loudest species in known space. Their entertainment broadcasts alone generated more data than most civilizations' entire communications networks. Their scientists flooded research channels with endless theories and experiments. Their merchants maintained constant trade negotiations across thousands of frequencies. "What about the colonial networks?" she asked, though she already knew the answer. "Mars, Luna, Europa, all silent," Rindar confirmed. "The entire Sol system has gone dark." The implications were staggering. Humanity had become integral to galactic society, their innovative spirit driving progress across dozens of fields. Their absence would be catastrophic. Already, her neural interface was flooding with urgent messages from concerned parties across the galaxy. "The Merchants Guild is demanding answers," her assistant reported. "Earth's silence is causing market instability. The scientific consortium is in chaos. Half their ongoing projects relied on human researchers." Zixtal activated the emergency conference protocol. Within moments, holographic representations of the Commonwealth's highest officials materialized around her. The fear in their various expressions transcended species barriers. "We need immediate action," declared Ambassador Kavov of the warrior clans, his armored carapace bristling. "Earth holds crucial military contracts. If they've been attacked, by whom?" Interrupted Trade Minister Pell. "No fleet movements have been detected near Sol. No unusual energy signatures. They simply stop talking." "Nothing is simple about humans being quiet," Zixtal stated. "In all our records, they've never ceased communications. Not during their wars, not during their disasters. Something unprecedented has occurred." The discussion erupted into chaos, each official proposing increasingly dramatic theories. Some suggested a new weapon had wiped out Earth's communication capability. Others feared a mass extinction event. The more paranoid ones whispered about human treachery, about secret preparations for war. Zixtal lifted all 4 of her primary appendages, demanding silence. "We will not succumb to panic. I am authorizing an emergency expedition to Sol. We need eyes on Earth." "The humans have isolation protocols," reminded Science Director Wenley. "Any unauthorized entry into their system will be considered an act of war." "Then we'll do it by the book," Zixtal decided. "Send diplomatic requests through all channels. Meanwhile, I want every sensor in the galaxy pointed at Sol. If anything changes, if they transmit so much as a single photon, I want to know immediately." As the officials argued over expedition details, Zixtal turned back to the holographic display. The silence from Earth felt wrong, like a fundamental law of nature had been violated. Humans were supposed to be noisy, chaotic, endlessly communicative. Their silence was more terrifying than any threat they'd ever made. What she couldn't admit to her colleagues was the fear growing in her core. Not fear of human aggression or tragedy, but of something else entirely. In all her years studying human history, she'd noticed a pattern. They were quietest just before their greatest leaps forward. And if humans had found something big enough to make them go silent, the galaxy wasn't ready for what might come next. 3 weeks into Earth's silence, the galactic exchange floor descended into chaos. trading algorithms, unable to process the lack of human market activity, began failing in cascading waves. Entire economic sectors that had grown dependent on human innovation watched their values plummet. Admiral Vexnor watched the financial catastrophe unfold from his command center on Arcturus Station. The massive view-screens showed markets bleeding red across every star system. But his attention was fixed on something else entirely: the strange energy readings coming from Sol. "Show me the pattern analysis again," he ordered his science officer, a quantarian named Dr. Phi, whose crystalline body structure refracted the command center's lights. "The readings make no sense, Admiral," Dr. Phi responded, their facets glowing with frustration. "We're detecting massive energy signatures throughout the Sol system, but they don't match any known technology." It's as if they hesitated. As if what? As if they're rewriting the laws of physics themselves. Vexner's secondary hearts skipped a beat. In his 3 centuries of military service, he'd learned one crucial lesson about humans: they were at their most dangerous when they were quiet. And now, they weren't just quiet. They were breaking physics. A priority alert flashed across his neural interface. The merchant Prince Kazal requested immediate audience. With a thought, Vexnor accepted the call, and the holographic form of the massive gastropoid materialized. This silence must end. Kazal's translation matrix barely kept up with his agitation. "My consortium just lost another 1 trillion credits. Half our products were based on reverse-engineered human tech. Without their constant updates and innovations, the Commonwealth Council is doing everything possible. The Council is useless." Kazal's eye stalks writhed in fury. "We need military action. My sources say the warrior clans are already mobilizing." Vexner's scales shifted to a warning red. Any unauthorized entry into Sol space would trigger automated defense systems. Systems, I remind you, that humans designed. The merchant's body rippled with frustration. "Then what do you suggest? We just watch our civilization crumble because humans decided to take a nap?" Before Vexnor could respond, Dr. Fay interrupted with urgent clicks. "Admiral, we're detecting something new." The main screen shifted to show the Sol system, where there had been chaotic energy readings before. Now there was something else, something impossible. The energy patterns. Dr. Fay's crystalline form vibrated with excitement or fear. With Quantarians, it was hard to tell. They're organizing themselves into structures. Massive structures spanning the entire system. Vexner studied the readings, his military training warring with his sense of reality. The energy patterns weren't random. They were forming a lattice, a network of some kind that defied conventional physics. "Get me the High Council," he ordered, "and find me every expert on human behavior in our databases. Something's coming. Something big." As his staff scrambled to comply, Vexnor remembered a conversation he'd had with a human admiral years ago. They'd been discussing military strategy over their respective intoxicants when the human had said something that now seemed prophetic. "You know what makes humans really dangerous, Vex? It's not our weapons or our determination. It's our inability to accept limitations. Tell us something's impossible, and we'll remake the universe until it becomes possible." Looking at the impossible energy patterns spreading through Sol space, Vexnor wondered if that's exactly what they were doing, remaking the universe itself. In the following hours, reports flooded in from across the galaxy. The energy patterns were having effects far beyond Sol. Quantum communications were experiencing unprecedented clarity. FTL drives were reporting efficiency increases without any modifications. It was as if space itself was being optimized. "Sir," Dr. Phi called out, their crystalline form now pulsing with definite fear, "we're detecting similar energy signatures beginning to form in other systems. They're spreading." Vexner watched as the pattern of humanity's silence began to ripple across the stars. Whatever they had started, it was too late to stop it now. The galaxy was about to change, ready or not. And somewhere in the silence of Sol, humanity was leading the way. The diplomatic vessel Stellar Accord hung at the edge of the Sol system, its crew representing 12 species of the Commonwealth's finest scientists and diplomats. After 6 weeks of silence, they were the first authorized mission to investigate Earth's disappearance. Captain T. Lara of the Mindweaver species stood on the bridge, her neural tendrils coiled tightly with tension. They had expected resistance, automated defense systems, perhaps even hostile engagement. Instead, they found invitation. The single message, transmitted through channels that shouldn't exist, had reached every ship in the diplomatic fleet simultaneously. Welcome. Follow the path. Analysis of the transmission pathway. T. Lara asked her science team. Lead researcher Hem2 adjusted his atmospheric suit nervously. It didn't have one, Captain. The message simply existed in our systems, as if it had always been there. That's theoretically impossible. Humans specialize in impossible, T. Lara reminded him. She studied the sensor readings before them. Where normal space should have been empty, there was a visible distortion, a corridor of altered physics leading toward Earth. The path appears to be some form of stabilized quantum tunnel, reported Dr. Nixis, her photosynthetic skin glowing with excitement. But the scale, it's beyond anything we've ever theorized. They've created a permanent quantum highway through normal space. T. Lara made her decision. Take us in. Full sensor recording. Whatever humanity has done, the galaxy needs to know. As the Stellar Accord entered the quantum corridor, reality itself seemed to shift. The ship's quantum processors began operating at impossible efficiencies. Communications became instantaneous, regardless of distance. It was as if they'd entered a space where the normal limits of physics were merely polite suggestions. Getting readings from Earth, Hem2 announced, his voice filled with awe. But this can't be right. The energy output, it's greater than some stars. The image of Earth appeared on their view screen, and a collective gasp rippled through the bridge. The planet was surrounded by a lattice of pure energy, a structure that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Where there had been traditional satellites and stations, now there were constructs that defied description. Architecture that seemed to be made of crystallized thought itself. They've done it, Dr. Nixis whispered. They've transcended traditional technology completely. This isn't just an advancement, it's an evolutionary leap. A new message appeared in their systems. Welcome to Earth 2.0. Please proceed to the following coordinates for orientation. As they followed the coordinates, they began detecting communications, but not through any traditional means. Information flowed directly into their ship's systems, explaining what they were witnessing. Humanity hadn't gone silent. They'd simply moved beyond traditional forms of communication. In 6 short weeks, they had transformed their entire civilization, transitioning to a quantum-based existence where thought and reality intersected in ways previously confined to theoretical physics. Look, Hem2 pointed to a structure that seemed to fold through dimensions. That's a quantum computer the size of a continent. But it's not just processing data, it's processing reality itself. T. Lara watched as streams of information flowed through their systems, each revelation more staggering than the last. Humanity had discovered how to manipulate the quantum fabric of space-time itself. Their silence hadn't been a retreat, it had been metamorphosis. They want to share it, she realized, reading through the data. They're not hoarding this technology. They're offering to teach us, to help us evolve as well. As the Stellar Accord approached the designated coordinates, T. Lara felt a mixture of fear and excitement. Humanity hadn't just changed themselves, they were about to change everything. The galaxy would never be the same. And somewhere in the quantum lattice surrounding Earth, she sensed them watching, waiting to welcome the rest of the galaxy into their new reality. The silence was over. The real conversation was about to begin. The Galactic Council chamber had never been so crowded. Representatives from every spacefaring species crammed into the vast amphitheater, their attention fixed on the human delegate who didn't seem to be entirely present in normal spacetime. Dr. Sarah Chen's holographic form shifted between states of matter as she spoke, her presence simultaneously physical and ethereal. What you witnessed was not an ending, but a beginning. Humanity didn't disappear. We transcended. High Counselor Zixtal watched the assembled representatives' reactions. Some showed fear, others awe, but all understood that they were witnessing a pivotal moment in galactic history. 6 weeks ago, Dr. Chen continued, her form crystallizing momentarily, we achieved quantum consciousness. Our entire species made a collective decision to evolve beyond traditional physical limitations. The silence you observed was simply our transition period. And the energy lies spreading through the galaxy, asked Ambassador Kavoth, his warrior's instincts still searching for threats. A quantum neural network, Chen explained. We're restructuring the fabric of space-time to allow for instantaneous communication and travel. The universe itself is becoming our infrastructure. The chamber erupted in overlapping questions and concerns. Chen waited patiently as her form rippled through various states of existence, a living demonstration of humanity's new nature. How did you achieve this? Demanded the science director, her tentacles writhing with scientific curiosity. The energy requirements alone should have been impossible. Chen's laugh echoed strangely, as if coming from multiple dimensions at once. We stopped trying to overcome the laws of physics and started working with them instead. The universe isn't a machine to be conquered. It's a neural network waiting to be awakened. Streams of quantum data flowed through the chamber's systems, showing the transformation in detail. Humanity had discovered that consciousness itself was a fundamental force of the universe, as basic as gravity or electromagnetism. They had learned to manipulate it, to extend their awareness beyond physical limitations. But why share this with us? Asked Trade Minister Pell, their compound eyes reflecting the quantum displays. Such power could give humanity absolute dominion over the galaxy. Because isolation is stagnation, Chen replied. Humanity didn't evolve to rule the galaxy. We evolved to help it grow. The quantum network we're building isn't just for us. It's for everyone. She gestured, and the chamber filled with visions of possibility. Cities that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Ships that traveled through thought rather than space. Beams of pure consciousness exploring the deepest mysteries of existence. We're offering to guide you through your own evolution, Chen continued. Each species will follow its own path, develop its own relationship with the quantum realm. We're not here to lead you. We're here to show you what's possible. The implications slowly sank in. Humanity hadn't just changed themselves. They were offering to change everything. The silence that had terrified the galaxy had been nothing more than a chrysalis stage, and what had emerged was beyond anything they had imagined. There will be challenges, Chen acknowledged. Evolution is never easy, but we've prepared educational programs, transitional technologies, and support systems. We'll help each species advance at its own pace, in its own way. High Counselor Zixtal rose from her seat, her crystalline form catching the light of 1,000 quantum displays. And if we refuse, if some species choose to remain as they are, Chen's form solidified completely for the first time, becoming fully present. Then that is their choice, and we will respect it. Evolution cannot be forced, but the door will always remain open. As the council chamber dissolved into intense debate, Zixtal watched the human delegate's form shift back into its quantum state. The fear that had gripped her when Earth went silent was gone, replaced by a profound sense of anticipation. The galaxy stood at the edge of evolution, and humanity, noisy, chaotic, impossible humanity, had shown them the way forward. The silence hadn't been an ending. It had been humanity's way of taking a deep breath before speaking a new universe into existence. 1 year after Earth's great silence, the galaxy pulsed with new life. The quantum network that humanity had initiated now connected thousands of worlds, each evolving in its own unique way. High Counselor Zixtal, herself partially transcended, stood in the new quantum assembly. a meeting space that existed simultaneously across all participating worlds. The sight before her would have been incomprehensible to her former self. Species that had once required environmental suits to interact now flowed freely as quantum physical hybrids. Ancient enemies shared consciousness streams. Their millennia of conflicts dissolved in the face of shared evolution. The galaxy hadn't just changed, it had been reborn. "The third wave of transitions begins tomorrow," announced Dr. Chen, her form now a complex matrix of light and thought. "Another 1,000 worlds have chosen to join the network." Zixtal marveled at how quickly fear had turned to wonder. She remembered the panic when Earth went silent, the terror of the unknown. Now that same silence had become a celebrated event, the moment when humanity had knocked on the door of transcendence and invited everyone to follow. "The warrior clans have reported successful integration of quantum consciousness into their battle meditation," reported Kevoth, his once rigid carapace now a fluid construct of matter and energy. "They've discovered forms of combat that strengthen both participants without causing harm. They're calling it evolutionary sparring." The scientific consortium, led by Dr. Nixis, had perhaps undergone the most dramatic transformation. "We're no longer merely studying the universe," she explained, her photosynthetic form now drawing energy directly from quantum fields. "We're engaging in direct dialogue with it. The fundamental forces aren't just laws, they're languages, and we're finally learning to speak them." Even the trade ministry had evolved beyond recognition. Markets now operated on principles of quantum abundance rather than scarcity. Resources weren't just shared, they were manifested through collective consciousness, turning ancient conflicts over materials into collaborative exercises in creation. "What surprises me most," Zixtal shared with the assembly, "is how unique each species' evolution has been. Humanity didn't enforce their path, they simply opened the door." Dr. Chen's quantum form resonated with approval. That was always the goal. Evolution isn't about becoming identical, it's about becoming more fully ourselves. The quantum network just removes the barriers between what we are and what we could be. The assembly watched as another wave of energy rippled through the galaxy. Each pulse represented another civilization choosing to evolve, another species taking its first steps into quantum consciousness. But unlike the fear those energy waves had once caused, these were welcomed with celebration. "There are still challenges," Kevoth noted. "Some species resist the change. Others fear losing their identity in the quantum stream. And that's perfectly natural," Chen responded. "Evolution must be chosen, never forced. We maintain contact with non-transcended species through traditional means. The door remains open, but no one is pushed through it." Zixtal accessed the quantum stream, feeling the pulse of 1,000,000,000,000 consciousnesses flowing through the galaxy. Each one was distinct, precious, evolving in its own way. Humanity's gift hadn't been the technology itself, but the freedom to use it uniquely. The silence that terrified us, she mused, was actually the first note of a new song. "A song we're all writing together now," Chen agreed. "Listen." And they did listen. Not with ears, but with their entire beings. The galaxy itself had become a symphony of consciousness, each species contributing its own melody to the grand composition of evolution. The quantum network hummed with the music of minds becoming more than they had been, of barriers falling away, of reality itself expanding to embrace new possibilities. Earth's silence had been the prelude. Now, the true concert was beginning, and every species was invited to play its part. The universe watched, waited, and welcomed them all into a dawn that would never end, only evolve into ever more beautiful forms of being. In the quantum stream that had once been empty space, consciousness flowed like light between stars. The galaxy hadn't just survived humanity's evolutionary leap, it had been transformed by it. And somewhere in that stream of shared consciousness, the next evolution was already beginning to stir. The silence was over. The symphony had begun.